yeah, 2 years ago now, I did February.
Ah, yes, I remember you mentioning that. The February.
I'm not doing a themed. This is the first February that I'm not doing daily theme stuff. But that's
it is a lot. I mean, it's exhausting, you know,
pushing the Kickstarter and stuff like that. So I think my first theme thing will be in May this year.
Awesome. It looks like all the streams are streaming, so that's good. I've been fighting with this computer all day over space and things. Like, it's one of those things where like you get a stock computer and it's just like, oh hey, this computer's made for gaming, and then like it loads up with so many updates that are just like integral to the system that guess what, you got like 10 gigs of space. Have fun having any thing run now.
Ryan, what's your homebrew?
Oh yeah, the homebrew was the mirrored daggers.
Right, mirror.
You know what? I should really stick with the iced coffee for shows. Like, I always had the energy drinks too hard. It's kind of refreshing. Now, where did I put the... There it is. There's the Libsyn. So I'm ready to go when you guys are.
Give me 1 second. I got the call notes here.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Can I finish my ice cream?
I encourage you to eat ice cream while we're going. That's all I'm saying.
I'm one of the ones that is kind of an advocate for not eating while recording. I mean, if it's split into the vibe, then sure, why not?
Sometimes I'm still eating dinner when I start my D&D games every week, but that's just on mic.
It was fair.
Well, we'll get right into it.
Sure, why not?
But speaking of eating dinner when you are doing like a game, Sam, what do you think would be the top tier? Like, what is the best snacks that a player can bring to a table? Short of like a whole like giant poo-poo platter of just Chinese. Just like, if someone brings Chinese, I'm sold.
In my opinion, you got to go with something light, first of all, right? You don't want to weigh your stomach down with too much stuff, right? So there's always like pizza for the heavier options. You got like small sandwiches, you know, snacks like crackers and shit.
That's like cheese and crackers.
Whatever. Yeah. There's always like brownies sometimes, you know, stuff like that. And then you got the more like personable options. I think like I'm a candy man myself.
Yeah, like I think I could bribe you as a DM with some sour Skittles.
Yeah, honestly, I mean Skittles kind of, but I personally am a sour and sweet over like a crunchy and salty. You know,
you don't want it too greasy because then you're going to lubricate the dice.
Yeah, we really like. I have enough trouble with players in floor dice as is. The last thing you need to do is just like get like the extra bit of grease, and then the one Bumble Fingers player at the table, and they just like shoot right out across this table at the speed of like whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
The speed of dice. I don't know.
I always like candy, you know, warm drink like some tea or hot chocolate. Me personally, I love hot chocolate.
I'm a hot chocolate person.
Also, you know, you can never go wrong with like an ice cream person.
Like the ice cream you're eating right now.
Look, my girlfriend made a delivery and I'm living for it right now.
You know what? We could dedicate an entire episode just talking about like the ideal like D&D girlfriend, like the one that doesn't play but is very supportive of you going and playing pretend with your friends and bring snacks. Like, you know, that's a real ride or die kind of girl, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I definitely feel that. Dude, you can never go wrong with like a nice bento box. Or some like really nice ramen.
I have never heard of someone bringing ramen to a D&D campaign. Like, I've heard of people like taking like the little ramen packs and like snacking on them like directly. It's a little weird.
Excuse me? Heard of what?
Yeah, someone introduced that to my kids, and they do that now, and it's just like, please
The dry
stop.
ramen.
Yeah. They'll take the dry ramen, and they'll take it out of the pack, and then they'll get like a little seasoning thing, and just kind of like drizzle the seasoning, like give it a little sprinkle over the top, and they'll just start munching on it like it's some kind of pastry.
It is basically fried noodles.
It's a convoluted way to do it.
Yeah, but they're uncooked, right? They're like chips.
No, they are like
It's like a brick
fried,
of a
that's why they
noodle.
absorb the broth so fast.
Yeah.
But
it's like a brick. Like,
I just think, personally, to me, that is just
like
too
a
much.
Nutri-Grain bar, but like.
Call me biased because I got a coffee right here, but if someone brings me an iced coffee to start the game, like, I think, bare minimum, you want the DM to be caffeinated for a good game. You need that brain firing on all cylinders. Just
You want
all
your
of them.
players all hopped up on a sugar high as soon as possible.
Yeah, you got to crash the players out so that they don't notice any of your DMing mistakes.
Sorry, I didn't know you were a dirty cheat.
Before they peek behind the screen.
Just happy little accidents.
Right? Speaking of happy little accidents, let's start the show.
Oh, yeah, there you
No, it doesn't want to. Oh, Nani? There we go. Welcome to Dungeons and Talk Shows, the talk show that brings you dungeons, news, and homebrews, and monstrous snacks. Sam thought I forgot the monster part that time.
You got some of it.
Yeah, just the part that matters, the snacky part.
I agree. Snacks always matter. Welcome to Dungeons and Talk Shows. We're kind of coherent sometimes, I guess.
And with us again, special guest and friend of the show, the Amethyst Dragon. How are you?
I am good, thank you.
It's good to have you back. Last we had you on, you were the man of, what was it, 1,500 homebrews, and since then, it has grown.
Yeah, it's been a while, so well over 1,700.
Whew.
Nice.
Granted, some of those aren't available online, but they're listed online because they're in my book.
So people can kind of like get the gist of what this book has to offer by going to your website and just like, oh, hey, look at, that thing right there. That has a cool name. I want that for my campaign because that gets the idea juices flowing.
Oh, yeah.
Idea juices.
For the lack of a better term.
Yeah. I mean, there's hundreds of things that are free on the list that you can get online, and hundreds more that you can still get online, but they're for Patreon. But my patrons wanted to get an idea of what was going to be in the book, so I started adding those things to the list as well.
And for our live watchers, I'm sure some people have noticed your hair is quite amazing. I'm a fan.
So
I do like the American Dragon look.
Yeah, this is the advantage of getting older and getting gray hair.
It does color better.
It certainly does.
So true.
And then
there was a time where I wanted to get like a platinum, like white dye. The endeavor was much more than I expected.
I would imagine, dude, like aside from just having flat out just dark hair, being black has got to be a nightmare for dyeing your hair in the first place. Like,
yeah, in a lot of situations for sure. It's kind of similar to like the limits of the tattoo colors that I or somebody of my pigmentation could get.
I don't know. I always found like subtle tattoos very cool, because like if you get like a dark tattoo on dark skin or a light tattoo on lighter skin, like it just has that subtle elegance to it.
Dude, have you ever seen like white ink tattoos on like Africans and stuff?
Oh, I bet that looks dope, dude.
It's so cool.
Because then you get that high contrast.
Makes me want like a white ink tattoo. I'm not that dark personally. But still, could be cool.
I always thought it'd be cool to get one of those ones with like the UV reactive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. Or like maybe if you get like something with like some bioluminescence, that'd be kind of neat. Well, that'd be temporary.
Be even cooler, but they don't have those.
How would you even do that?
You'd probably have to get some mad internet scientist with a CRISPR kit. Take some of that bioluminescence from some jellyfish, put that in an ink, and like maybe mix it with like some kind of fungus. That way your tattoo's a fungal infection, but it also glows, so that's cool.
Oh, that's just wrong.
Oh no.
Dude, I would love to see more tattoo shops in typical D&D games. Like, everyone talks about the magic spell tattoo, but like just being able to throw on, be like, hey, I love our party so much. Guys, guess what? I got a tat. Like, if the barbarian just went to a tattoo shop and just like got everyone's faces tattooed across his chest, would that not be the most hilarious thing?
Yeah,
I was in a D&D game once as a player, and we were like working for this prince, and he was getting married to some woman he didn't like. So it was an arranged marriage. So we were in charge of basically throwing him in a bachelor party. And the prince ended up with a tattoo on his shoulder of one of the party members' faces that his soon-to-be wife hated.
Yes.
It's so good.
All the more reason for once he becomes king to get himself a good set of concubines that can cope with the face.
Oh no.
Listen,
they got healers, they can change it.
Nah, dude. Like that's the thing about tattoos is they function on a thing called capillary action. So like they just poke a bunch of tiny ass holes in the skin, and then while they're injecting the ink, and then it just like boom gets sucked in there. The hole heals up, and boom, you got like some ink under there.
We're talking about magical healing, cleansing and purification.
I don't know.
They can get rid of it.
You know what? Having a spell that could just straight get rid of tattoos, like, I don't know if that's in the realm of what prestidigitation could do. Ask your dungeon master.
That can remove curses. Are you kidding me?
Remove tattoo and place tattoo. Like, have that be one spell. And like, you could just. That takes prestidigitation to another level, where you're creating a permanent thing or removing a permanent thing from someone's skin.
I could see
I would deal with prestidigitation because that only works on objects.
Yeah.
And no matter how much you objectify yourself or another character.
I mean, it's essentially a brand, right? So, I mean, there are tons of branding spells.
I could see a first level ritual spell doing it.
Yeah. Spend an hour to infuse a body with some ink to form a design of your choice. Whatever. I could see it.
Right.
That's if you even go the magical route,
I just think it'd be a kind of a very comical idea. Go up to someone in the market. Like, there could be some practical uses for something like this. Like, we got to mark a target, and we're going to actually mark the target.
That is true.
Yeah, you could destroy someone's whole career with the wrong tattoo.
Very true.
Well, Sam, you can take things from here for a moment. I got to tell my kids to stop killing each other for a moment.
You do what you have to do. So, Mr. Amethyst Dragon, what has life been like for you in the past few months?
It's been busy with, mostly working on the book. I've been putting more and more hours into it. Because it kickstarts in like a month.
Right.
So I'm like, I got to finish this up.
Yeah. Are you excited? I bet you're living for it.
I'm. I thought I had like a couple months left, but it's like a month or so away.
Time really flies when you're working on something you're like passionate about. It's so true.
I actually set a cutoff for myself at the end of November last year of, anything I make up to this point is going into the book. After this is not, otherwise the book will never be finished.
Absolutely.
Makes sense. So good news, Sam. My kids weren't killing each other. They were playing pretend with their fort, and lo and behold, my daughter's pretending to pee all over everyone's yard. So she is a D&D player in the making.
Nice. Somebody taught her to assert her dominance at a very young age, and I'm glad. That's what this world needs these days.
It's a good start. I mean, I got one that likes to make poop ice creams for people in campaigns. Another one that's perfectly fine and dandy with getting in a tree and jumping down to shank some enemies. And now we have the one that wants to pee in everyone's yard.
Hell yeah! You've got a real party going on. This is basically the plot of what's that D&D movie, Dungeons Among Thieves or whatever.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Monty Python. Like Monty Python's the most D&D movie ever.
I mean that too.
It's been about a year since Honor Among Thieves came out.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Dude.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, you should. If you've actually played D&D, it is a great movie.
That's what I've been hearing, but I don't know. I should just get around to watching it.
It's one of those things where the critics that don't play D&D hate it. They're like, it's a terrible movie. It's all hackneyed. Everything's overdone, and like all the shoehorned in blah 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 blah, and the humor is too much Marvel humor. It's like, dude, if you ever sat down with a group of people at a table and just played some D&D, you'd know, like. Right out of the gate, like trying to grapple a Aarakocra and jump out of a tower.
Hey, spoilers.
He had his chance.
That was true.
Speaking of spoilers, Sam, you ever put coffee houses in your D&D games? Because I think I'm going to put one in the next session, because damn.
I haven't, because I'm not personally like a coffee drinker, so that's kind of something I would really think of. Though taverns, I imagine, would have all kinds of drinks, like coffees, brews, alcohols, whatever the player really asks for. I'm willing to make it a thing.
That's fair.
I had a coffee house in mine in kind of a Middle Eastern Egyptian setting city, and one of my players actually managed to find a supplier and buy like a 30-pound bag of coffee beans.
That's awesome.
The character has no idea what to do with them. They really like coffee, and they wanted to make their own, but they have no idea how.
What the fuck? That's so funny.
They gotta find a grinder.
It reminds me
get like a pepper shaker and just stuff those beans in there.
It's not even dried beans either. It is just like straight up off the bush coffee beans.
So they're like
probably going bad by now.
Oh yeah, so they're like still in the fruit and stuff. Because like coffee beans are like technically a seed, so that's like weird.
You gotta roast them.
Yeah. Like you have to.
Beans?
Yeah, they're not actual beans. I remember vaguely somewhere like there was a company that would like feed these things to these type of cats, right? And then they'd like collect the shit from these cats, and then like they take out the coffee beans, and it's like something to do with the being processed and the enzymes. Like it's
Madagascar.
It's supposed to make them taste better. And it's like, could you imagine the creatures that you could feed coffee bean like shit to in D&D to get the same result? Like,
I always think about like the applications of like materials and what's the word, like produces, I guess, from creatures. Like there's always like dragon's milk, dragon blood, shit like that, right? Like
okay.
You could get like elemental essence into like a coffee and to keep it chilled, like I don't know, it could be anything.
Or poop coffee.
Yeah,
poop coffee. Like
who knows? Maybe you
elemental poop coffee. That slow roast.
he stole a red dragon's, poop pile. And mixed it with
Yeah, we've been
beans.
feeding this dragon coffee beans for the past 50 years. Every time he passes a stool, it's payday, guys.
Yeah. You guys have no idea. He needs gold.
we give him a cut because, dragons like their cut. They like their gold.
It's gold flecked dragon shit bean roast.
I don't know. The more convoluted something gets, like, if you really think about it, in like all these crazy creatures in D&D have, like, I could imagine someone trying to find practical applications for them.
Bro, we have a Starbucks. They can make it happen with the D&D creatures. It's
like maybe like a druid grove that manages to tame some rust monsters and use them as siege weapons.
What?
Yeah, because you go up.
Wait.
They got an iron gate. Oh well, too bad you guys have an iron gate. We only use wooden cudgels. Go get them, rust monster.
Would consider? Yeah, I mean, I guess they don't like metals, right? So I guess that would make sense. They would associate with rust monsters, right?
Well, there's potential.
I guess I could see it. Yeah. Interesting.
I have made druid spells in the past that rusted metal and
yeah, like oxidation or whatever. I could see it.
Like a
makes
protective
sense.
thing. Hey, you get hit with a weapon. Guess what? It's like you just hit a rust monster.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's really good.
Like a natural decay almost. Yeah.
I would think that acts as a double-edged sword because, like, at the same time, you're also destroying any potential loot. So it's great.
But like they don't value metals anyway.
Yeah, the rest of the party might.
Yeah, that's fair.
The druid's like, I cast rust metal, and the fighter's like, wait, I wanted that.
That sword was cool.
And druids in my game have a thing for silver.
Oh.
It's like pure and shiny.
Mm-hmm. Purifying metal. It's kind of like copper, where silver can actually like destroy microbes, even though you don't know it's microbes, but it's a purifying metal.
Right.
Yeah, that's always been kind of a part of my headcanon for how lycanthropy and vampirism works. Like, the reason that silver affects them is because their entire being is just one giant microbe colony. And if you start disrupting the microbe colony that makes up a lycanthrope or a vampire, then all of a sudden some bad stuff starts happening to their body.
I could see that.
Well, it's like supposed to be a type of disease, so disrupting the disease itself is problematic for them.
Yeah, sometimes it's a disease or a curse.
Yeah. I think silver works with curses to a degree.
Sometimes. A lot of creatures that use curses and things like that are affected by silver.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
So, Amethyst, how has the book been coming along? Like, I know you've been, like, really just chugging away at it.
It is almost done. I have about 150 pages left to edit out of the 575 that it's now up to. And I got to put some artwork in for NPCs and monsters.
This is going to be a chunky book.
It is. I'm looking at, like, getting, like... There's different thicknesses of paper, and I'm looking at not the thinnest, but like a medium weight one. So it would put it at about 4.5 pounds.
Nice.
So I'm just imagining like taking this to the gaming table and just like dropping it from about an inch, and it just like
just shy of that, just almost that Bible rice paper that people use, just because like so many pages.
Yeah, no, I don't want that. I'm
too much.
Like thicker. Like the plan is like thicker than Player's Handbook paper, because I think that's maybe like a 50-pound weight. It's really thin. It's like magazines or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like, I'm gonna go with something a little bit thicker. It's already a big book. I want it to be sturdy.
Understandable. And like being able to boast that you put out a 5-pound book. Like, be like, hey guys, listen, your homebrews are cool and all, but I'm selling 5 pounds worth of homebrew. I mean,
Who
that's a
else
selling
is-
point right there.
I mean, shit. Who else is out here putting a literal weight in homebrews?
I looked at the content that's in it, and I compared it to like Tasha's and Xanathar's. Those two books, especially Tasha's, is probably about 1/3 is artwork.
Mm.
Yeah, that
Mine
doesn't
was,
surprise me.
and it's like 190 some pages. Mine was like 400, 450 pages, and that was before I put any artwork in.
Dude, I think books, especially like D&D books, where you have these like small ass descriptions of monsters. That's part of the whole reason why I have this, this segment is because like a lot of these monsters don't get talked about enough. They don't get enough light on there. They just get this tiny ass passage, no real picture, or something that's like not even accurate. Like it makes me so mad.
Yeah, that's why I like that one YouTuber that like he'll just I think it was Mr. Rex that he'll just do like, hey, deep dive on a monster across different editions. So it's like, okay, here's what they don't tell you, and this is what it used to be like way back in the day.
He definitely inspired me to do this kind of segment.
I should ask him to come on the show. You two would hit it off. Just go off on monsters all day.
That'd be really
There you
cool.
go. Yeah, I've been editing the book and adding artwork and doing more illustrations. And just a few days ago, I actually got my cover art from the artist.
Nice.
Because I sent a really rough sketch like back in November, and then beginning of the year rolled around, and he had that was scheduled time to start working on it. So he's been working on it for about a month. And he brought it to life, and it was expensive, but an actual human artist that I knew was skilled with dragons because that was the centerpiece of it. So yeah, I don't use AI stuff for anything.
Right.
Yeah, that's a very divisive thing in the community nowadays. Like,
oh my god,
like it's wild.
Yeah, so I've got the cover artist did one thing. I've got some stock art from a couple of people off Drive-Thru RPG.
Nice.
I have one like little commission for one NPC. Because the NPC was actually inspired by one piece of art that this guy posted on Twitter.
Okay.
Okay.
And so I asked him, can I like get this art or like get you to make one? And he was like, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of artists are very agreeable when it's like, hey, could you throw something together? Like, I really enjoy this thing right here, Yeah.
So I paid a little bit for that one. And then a lot of public domain art, because there's like so many thousands of things you can find online if you just look.
Yeah.
Stuff that's over 100 years old is great. It works great for my book because then I'm like pulling all the color out of it. I like the hand-drawn stuff.
Yeah, like you get a really good like particular style because like a lot of that stuff was very in like a certain breadth, as it were, for like over 100 years ago. Like, it makes it a little easier to narrow down the search.
Yeah, it's not the easiest search, but it is it's cool looking to find some of this art and go, hey, I recognize that. Or, oh, I really like this one. I'm gonna find a use for it.
Oh, absolutely. And it's surprising how much good content you can find that's public domain out there.
Oh yeah.
For example, with the One Piece campaign that we're running, I've been using some stuff from Technoax, and he makes some amazing music that's all fair use for anyone to use. And it's like, all he asks is that people give him a little bit of credit, and he's just like all over the place with different genres. So like if you like whatever genre you're going for, you can easily find something to throw into a game.
It's been so nice too for the atmosphere and everything. Like I think the music you had for the fight was really nice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I'm excited for this next part.
He's going 1v1 with the beaver, man.
He's gonna get it. You don't try to start some beef and then run.
Well, you already intimidated him, so he didn't really feel inclined to stick around.
Yeah, my exposure to One Piece is like seeing a few clips online and then seeing like how many episodes there actually are and going, I'll watch the Netflix live one. Hey, that was good. I don't have time for the anime.
No one has time.
Well, to be fair, Funimation has kind of butchered it in the sense of pacing, because they'll do these recaps, and if you're watching week to week, a recap is fantastic. But when you know it as well as the fan base does, it's like, please, can we just get on? They'll do last week's episode recap, then you'll have the theme song, then you'll have the ending theme at the end of it, and then it's just like, I just want to get down to the actual content, and they spent so long.
Of actual content.
Yeah,
like a 25-minute episode.
Yeah, there's about as many episodes as there are chapters, and anyone in the anime community knows that that's not how things go. It's ridiculous, especially if you consider maybe 10% of One Piece is filler.
Yeah, it's why I don't get into watching Doctor Who, because there's so much of it. I know that I'd want to see all of it.
Yeah,
I've seen a few episodes, maybe a dozen, but that's it. Because I know I don't have time to become a hardcore fan of it.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I've always looked at One Piece as kind of I kind of came up with the concept of a home anime, if that makes any sense. You're gonna watch little short animes here and there, but ultimately, when you ain't got nothing to watch, you got to go home at the end of the day. And that's where One Piece comes in. Long shows like One Piece, Gintama, Detective Conan, all of those fall into that category. Hundreds upon hundreds of episodes, so there's no guilt in binging and then picking it up and dropping it at regular intervals.
Yeah, I did watch the live one, so it's got a lot of cool concepts. So I'm I can see how that'd be a show further developed that everybody's really into.
I gotta grab a kid.
Welcome to the Amethyst Dragon Show. I make homebrews and stuff. I do laundry.
Well, someone had to do the laundry.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, welcome back to my show, guys.
I'm glad you could have us. Happy to be here.
It does happen from time to time.
Oh, we have a baby as our guest too. Nice. Happy to have you here.
Yeah, if only this show is appropriate for children.
Yeah.
And she...
Okay, quick question. Does this one speak?
To a degree, yes.
Do they know any words?
Yeah, which one is this?
No, this is Aloy.
Ah, the youngest one.
Yes, my youngest. She does know words.
She does know words.
Can she give me one word?
Hey, Aloy,
Ooh.
got a word? I'm going to take that as a no. She's tired right now.
Yeah, I can see that.
She's got the birthday coming up soon.
What?
Yeah. You know what that means? It's been about almost 2 years since Horizon Zero Dawn 2 came out. Horizon 2. You see, her and Horizon 2 have the same release date.
Worked out.
Yeah.
You're like, babe, I can't be in the delivery room. I gotta get to the release. My pre-order is ready.
Imagine how awkward that conversation is when it's the wife that's saying that she can't be in the delivery room for the release. My wife loves that game.
That's so funny. She's like having the baby. She's like, give me the disc.
No,
one thing I would like to do tonight is make a homebrew live.
Ooh,
that sounds fun.
That wouldn't be the first, and it won't be the last. I'm all in.
We should all collectively see what we can come up with together.
I like that.
Each give one piece or something. I don't know.
It's one of the things I like to do when I'm on podcasts and streams and stuff. Is
Sounds fun.
get a word or three and turn them into a functional thing for D&D. I do it at conventions, and it's just something I started doing. So,
Ryan, speaking of conventions, I forgot to tell you, Sienna is going to be at GalaxyCon this year in a few weeks, I believe, and I will be going with her. So I'm thinking I could do a little bit of promoting for us.
Oh, cool.
And I don't know how. Maybe we can make some like flyers or something. But I don't know. Shout out to the social media gang and the people listening.
So if anyone
going to GalaxyCon in Virginia.
So if anyone spots you at GalaxyCon, it is the guy.
Yeah, it is the real Starboy, and live and in the flesh. Shout out! I'll probably be at some of the art tables, doing some sales and stuff like that. Maybe we could come up with some merch to sell or something like that.
That'd be cool.
Who knows?
I like gaming conventions. I only go to one anymore, but I used to go to Gen Con.
I remember the last one I went to. There was this one guy who just had like, I know it's like not the most impressive person to cosplay, but the most incredible Casey Jones cosplay I've ever seen.
Who's Casey Jones?
He's the dude from the Ninja Turtles.
Oh, with the hockey mask.
Yeah. Like, I've never seen somebody fit the character better in my life. Like, the dude that played him in the movie, move aside, motherfucker. We got the real Casey Jones right here.
I love it. Who was your favorite Ninja Turtles character? Was it Casey?
Honestly, I've always been more partial to Donatello, but that's just because I have a intelligence bias when it comes to characters. I love smart characters.
I always feel like Raphael was always my favorite, though I don't think I related to him the most personally. You know what I mean? I thought he was the coolest one.
I never really got into Ninja Turtles much, but my brother had the toys and stuff. So Leonardo, because swords.
Nice.
Yeah, fair enough.
Also, I always thought the size were really cool.
The cool thing about size is they basically counter swords. Like, you catch someone's sword, what you gotta do?
Gotta have that twist wrist strength,
Absolutely. All right, Sam. So what do you got for the monster this week?
Oh, okay. So I was currently at a little bit of a get together before we were recording tonight. So I went ahead and asked the group, if they had some suggestions for tonight. And one of the ones that I was given is one that I personally had never heard of. It is kind of a goofy little guy. It's called the Vanderhob.
Okay, I don't know what a Vanderhob is, but it sounds interesting.
Okay. So my thought in the raising that I had as a kid, with what was it called? Wonderland, What was it fucking Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland.
I think of the Bandersnatch, the big mythical dragon that I'll probably talk about in episode someday.
I mean, being the hopeless weeb I am, you're saying Wonderland, and I'm thinking Dead Man Wonderland just because it had that killer intro.
That shit was so good. Okay, we're going on topic real quick. You ever seen that show, Amethyst?
I've not. No.
Oh man, it was about prisoners in a prison who were on death row that would basically fight to the death for reduced sentences. So they all had blood powers or something.
Yeah, super unethical. Someone turned a prison into a theme park.
Yeah, basically. Oh yeah, and then they live streamed it for people to watch and bet on. Anyway, the Vanderhob, right?
It's about them Vanderhobs, right?
Oh, I have a quote here before I get into what exactly the Vanderhob is.
All right.
Without word, seldom heard, Vanderhobs creep from shadows deep, in voiceless nights when stars alight upon the bleak and moonless blight.
So is this Green Lantern?
Nope. Honestly, is probably like the least of what you're expecting, as it was a bipedal, pretty humongous frog-like humanoid with a frame somewhat similar to those of orcish stature.
Okay, so I can kind of like picture like some old depictions of orcs with just like a bit more of a froggy presentation.
Yeah. Imagine like, big, like wide set arms, wide like mouth, big old belly with the big old like what's that frog? The frog thing where you'd be like,
I want to say
that thing.
I want to say gullet, but I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I can know. If you have a frog scientist out there, let us know. They had long, scrawny tipped arms, tipped with long claws. Within the depths of their massive maws were a serpentine tongue and 2 rows of saw blade-like fangs. Atop their bulbous heads were a pair of large, blank, and empty eyes. Some Banderhobs lacked the immense size of their kin, being lithe and short, but others were stout and tall. Their feet were normally flapping and flat as they silently moved through the darkness. Other reported traits of the Banderhobs were inconsistent and variable, although it was fully possible that all of them were true. Some Banderhobs were rumored to have extra-dimensional caverns within their stomachs. Reports of those who had been swallowed stated that they were taken to a strange room, much larger than the creature. Within the depths of the stomach was a giant face, taking up about half of the surface of the area of the room, with a hole in the middle leading to the true stomach.
A true stomach. So they got a false stomach?
I don't know. It kind of sounds like they have like a bag of holding type pocket dimension in their stomachs.
That sounds terrifying.
I know, right? The ghastly outline was not a true face, as it lacked eyes and was distorted, elongated, and a ghastly white that contrasted with the rest of their flesh-colored insides. After being swallowed by a Banderhop, it was possible to carve a path out of them from the inside, but it had to be done quickly before digestion was completed.
Okay, so you gotta, if you get swallowed, you better have your pocket knife.
Yeah, be ready to do something gross. Start slashing away. So, getting into the ecology and kind of lore of these creatures. While most of the malevolent forces of the Shadowfell were driven by dark emotions such as hatred, jealousy, spite, or sheer ego, Vanderhobbs had no such feelings. At the same time, no action they committed was based in kindness, respect, or adoration. Emotions were an alien concept to them, and even urges like hunger and sleep were not things they desired to do, processes that they recognized they had to do. Sort of like the primal instinct. Piss, shit, eat, fuck, stuff like that.
Yeah, the basics.
The basics, monkey brain go burr. Except frog brain, I guess. The truly terrifying aspect of the Banderhobbs was that they were completely apathetic to their situation, striving only to complete the mission assigned to them. They could not be driven to acts of anger, frightened away, or made to feel sorrow, nor did they make challenges or waste time gloating. Entirely subservient to whatever nebulous entity commanded them, Banderhobbs were practically impossible to manipulate. They had no personal compulsions, completed their missions even if it inevitably ended in their own death. So no sense of self-preservation. And they also kept their goals assigned so well hidden that they could not be used against them.
They should get these guys to work for Amazon.
Oh my god.
Oh, what? Were we not allowed to say that?
Oh, Amazon, please sponsor us.
Oh, yeah.
That's so funny.
Oh, dude. Amazon's a wild place. They sell Gaylords full of just random stuff that gets returned?
What is a Gaylord?
A box. It's a giant box, Sam.
It's just a box?
It's just a giant ass box on a pallet.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's called a Gaylord.
Okay.
I know, right? False advertising. I'm picturing like some kind of flaming. When I hear Gaylord, I think like a fabulous vampire, and then like I find out that it's just a box, and I'm like, this is not what I paid for.
You know what? He's cooking. The fumes may be toxic, but you are indeed cooking. So, assuming that banner hobbs were unthinking soldiers, however, was a grave mistake that only benefited the monsters. Absolute obedience, often mistaken for mindlessness, allowed a banner hop to make completely logical assessments without impulse or emotion impeding its thinking. Both cunning and incredibly aware, a banner hop could make swift tactical decisions and even decide to retreat if it believed that it was the most efficient path. Despite their inability to verbally communicate, they could receive commands to an intriguingly deep degree. Unlike automatons, they were capable of recognizing idioms, metaphors, dialects, and otherwise reading into the non literal meaning of commands, with individuals being able to better comprehend different tongues. So, and just for a little frame of reference here, Banner Hobbs understood Common, Goblin, and the languages of its creator, but they were not able to speak.
Okay, so they understand languages, but
Yes.
they also have like no capacity for like sarcasm.
Not really, no.
And
So
because
they
they don't
understand it, they
yeah,
just don't use it.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like they can't speak, so it's just like, okay, well, you're not going to get any indication that it's
They're
not
just gonna stare at you. Like,
yeah, it's just like if you had that barbarian that takes everything literal like Drax, and
Mhm.
you just take all the awkward moments and then just make those silent the entire time.
I could see, see the dynamic that you could have with these.
There's a dynamic.
There could always be a dynamic around.
I mean, there could be a dynamic exit if you have to cut your way out of one.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. Getting into their abilities here. Great strength lay hidden within the seemingly scrawny arms of the Banderhog. With bone-crushing claws capable of squeezing the life out of most physically capable mortals, their tongues were controlled by a plethora of muscles, faster than a coiled snake, and the grip tighter than a giant python. Masterfully manipulating their tongues, they could quickly wrap their victims up and drag them towards their gaping maws. Within their gullets lay the bodies of whoever they had consumed, possibly still alive, as well as weapons, clothes, or anything that had been instructed to steal. One known process by which they found their targets was by being provided with some part of their body, like hair or blood, or a piece of something that they carried, like clothing. Once given the piece, they could track down the person or object so long as they were only 1 mile, 1.6 kilometers away, although they may possess other techniques or hunting abilities. Bannerhops were apparently expert trackers.
Okay, they know their shit.
If you're within that mile, they're fine. Like,
that's crazy, dude.
Kind of scary. Apparently, as well, the most fearsome of the Bannerhob's supernatural powers was their link to the world of shadows. Using their wide eyes and spatial receptors in their skin, Bannerhobs were able to uniquely sense the presence of crossing between the other planes and the Shadowfell. Some claim that they traveled between the planes using ritual markings carved into their torsos. Even if a crossing point was too small for them to travel through, their unending patience let them wait until they were sufficiently stretched enough to allow them to. Bannerhobs in the Shadowfell could even reach through the darkness, striking and grabbing the unwary residents of the material world, possibly dragging them back through the relatively small gate. I imagine it just like snaking its tongue through. Ugh. God.
I mean, first off, you already got the problem of their most powerful asset is this massive long tongue that's as powerful as a giant snake, and the tongue is the strongest muscle in the body in most cases, so that's even stronger than you would anticipate.
Also, check this shit out. When in need of a hasty retreat, Bannerhobs could teleport short distances to nearby shadow or dimly lit regions. Disregarding their space warping means of escape, Bannerhobs were often as quiet and creeping as the shadows they resided in, despite their hulking size.
Okay, so that gives me a hint how things go for the IRL fight score here.
So there were apparently a few subtypes of Vanderhops that I kind of want to talk about a little bit. We have the Filch, the Warder, and the Abductors.
All right.
So the Filch, unlike their gargantuan kin, they had a diminutive stature. These are the smaller ones that I mentioned before. They grabbed their victims alive and placed them in sacks they hefted over their backs. These are the frog
Okay.
Santas. Okay, or like the frog Krampus, I guess.
Frog Santa sounds hilarious.
Filches were almost skittish in behavior, quickly lashing out at any noise that caught their angular ears and jumping at those who surprised them. Whether this constituted an emotional response or simply a hyperactive mind was not known, as most who suffered their outbursts were dragged off along with their targets. Get yoinked, bruh. So
Get
next
over
up,
here,
we have
yes.
the Warder. They specialize in the chase, hunting down their targets ruthlessly until caught. Wherever their targets attempted to flee, there was a significant chance the Warder had already teleported there, cutting off their prey at every turn. For most
damn.
Vanderhops, hunting in the day could be difficult. Warders, however, excelled in this task.
Okay, so this is a creature that's excellent for a party that thinks they know how to get away.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And last but not least, we have the Abductors. And it makes me very curious as there's like one line for these ones. And it only says specialize in consuming prey whole and slowly digesting them. So I picture very large, maybe like a distended bellies, you know. And these may be the ones with the pocket dimensions in their guts. I could see, you know, you get swallowed and you just kind of get lost in like a void.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Horrifying.
I mean, calling them abductors kind of gives you like the sense that maybe they sneak into your camp in the middle of the night, eat someone whole sneakily, and then run off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Vanderhops exited portals from their realms alone or in pairs, but the exact numbers varied based on the scale of the invasion. They maintained an orderly march through areas of thin shadows and returning to their quarry allowed the carrier to pass first when the others remained to clean up anyone who heard of their escapades. No witnesses. There also existed a ritual to conjure a Vanderhop through a combination of flesh and shadow. Hags were chiefly in possession of this knowledge, but other dark fae, great fiends, and corrupt mortal wizards knew the secrets to such a process.
Okay, so this kind of like that right there combines easily with what we said about hags. Like a hag could easily run their own little mafia situation, and just being able to have like your ultimate ace in the hole hitman be one of these.
It's like, hey, these would be like a nasty assassin squad.
It's like, hey, bring this one to me. You know?
Yeah. Oh my god, your party member gets fucking pulled into a shadow and just vanishes. You're like, what happened?
And then, you know, you go off on the chase, you're trying to track down your friend, and turns out somewhere in their history they pissed off a hag and the hag ain't having it. And
hag
now
wants their payment.
Yeah, the hag wants you to pay up, and then your party member's been bogarted. It's a whole thing at that point.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So I have one more quote before I get into the abilities and stats here.
Oh,
I'm not here.
No one knows.
I hear you now.
The Vanderhob goes. Oh, you can hear me?
No.
It's disconnected.
Oh, is it doing that again?
Not hearing him. Oh, okay, I see. Starboy disconnected.
For a second.
Every week we get some kind of connection issue.
It happens to the best of us. Oh, is he frozen? Oh no, he's moving.
Nah.
Should I continue?
I mean, it looks like it's picking you up, so we got that.
Oh, okay. So no one knows where the Vanderhob goes, leaving no trace of the place, no place.
I'm just seeing
a
him
trackless trail
from the,
where shadows prevail.
Libsyn,
beyond the ever.
I'm not hearing him. So maybe it's just, you know, my connection is not picking up the audio.
It's got to be your connection because, like, Sam, your connection seems to be coming through fine on my end. Just a little weird on Amethyst's end.
Yeah, I would just have him refreshed and rejoin.
Well, if it's working now, then we'll stick with that. But
is it? It still says he's disconnected from me.
Okay, so both of you seem to be disconnected from each other. I don't understand this.
Now I'm disconnected. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm seeing everybody, and I'm
there we go.
I'm hearing everybody again.
Sounds good.
So there, refreshed. Hopefully that fixes all the things.
So I'm kind of loving that these frogmen creatures are kind of like the boogeymen, right? Like,
yeah, you know,
steal you away in the dead of night, pull you into a shadow, swallow you, and take you with them is kind of fucking spooky. You get put into a sack and carried away. Like, what the hell?
Damn, this is just a lot. How do you cope with that?
What do you do if like you're walking down the street with your party, right? You're suddenly talking and you notice, I don't know, your wizard or something suddenly goes quiet. You look to see in the space where she was, and you see 30 feet away a large frog creature carrying a sack, like booking it down the
road. I picture like maybe the resident paladin takes off the armor to get a rest, shields off to the side. Oh, by the way, motherfucker, you're in the sack now.
Or even just being like swallowed, and then the thing just kind of comes in and out of the shadows, so you don't even see it.
It starts teleporting. Like
it really is like the boogeyman. You lose track of it.
How do you track something that can move through shadow?
That's a tricky thing. So, like, I would imagine if you're going to run an encounter like that, just to be fair to your players, like maybe have like some method kind of baked into the encounter.
It would be during the day, I would imagine. Have some means of you increasing the light in the area, stuff like that.
They'd be most dangerous at nighttime, and there's no reason they wouldn't attack at that point.
Absolutely, they would have. As you'll see in a minute with their abilities, free reign of movement, basically. So getting into their stats here, they have a strength of 20, dexterity of 12, constitution of 20, wisdom of 14, intelligence of 11, and charisma of 8. And these are I believe, large monstrosities. CR 5?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's pretty decent.
And usually neutral evil alignment.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So getting into the first ability here, you got resonant connection. If the Banderhop has even a tiny piece of a creature or an object in its possession, such as a lock of hair or a splinter of wood, it knows the most direct route to that creature or object if it is within 1 mile of the Banderhop. It just knows.
Masterful trackers. So I figured like this is the kind of thing where all kinds of shady folk could turn to these things to get someone brought to them.
Yeah.
Which is
like it said, like you got demons, you got hags, evil wizards, anything.
The concept that there's not much you can really do about it because they're just so swift to like get in, get out, go through the shadows.
Yeah, and they're smart enough to probably size up your party and decide if they want a direct encounter or to just quietly pick you off.
Yeah, you said they are logical.
Yeah. They're not, it's like exactly intelligent, with this 11. They can follow direction, and if directions are specific enough, and they can take their own liberties, shit.
Oh, that's like human average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10, 11.
And the average person knows how to be a sneaky fuck, so I'd say that they got a good chance.
They're not going to go charging in, to a fire-lit area, blowing their cover. Right. Wait till you're going off to pee, pulling you into the shadows. Wait till you're on watch.
Yeah, pick up the person watching. Next up, we have
Shadow Stealth. While in dim light or darkness, the Banderhop can take the hide action as a bonus action.
Okay, very roguey.
Nothing too crazy there. Next up, we have Swallow. The Banderhop makes a bite attack against a medium or smaller creature it is grappling. If the attack hits, the target is swallowed and the grapple ends. The swallowed creature is blinded and restrained and has total cover against attacks and other effects outside of the Banderhop and takes 3d6 necrotic damage at the start of each of the Banderhop's turns. The Creature reduces 0 hit points in this way, stops taking necrotic damage, and becomes stable.
So they don't die; they just go unconscious.
I guess I would imagine it's up to
because 0 hit points and stable is unconscious, and then the Banderhawk can just like take him anywhere.
Yeah.
Like what? Hack him up later?
Yeah, probably. Or perfect.
Here's the thing. Here's the person you wanted.
Yeah, perfectly. They're subdued.
They're perfect for that in that way because it's just like, okay, I'm a delivery boy. What more do you want?
Yeah, he's like, here's your body. Got what you want. He's not dead. He's a little burned, but there you go. Next up, we have Shadow Step. The Banderhawk magically teleports up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space of dim light or darkness that it can see. Before or after teleporting, it can make a bite or tongue attack. There we go. That's the Banderhawk. Honestly, what this makes me think of, imagine the gear you can make using these creatures. That's where my brain goes.
I don't know.
Blood of the Banderhawk could be used to probably make something, flesh and skin, shadow movements. I could see it.
I don't know. Blood of the Banderhawk sounds cool.
It does sound really cool, right?
That's actually a drink at the coffee shop.
Ah,
yeah.
Nice.
See, that
gives you.
It sounds cool.
Shadow inside.
Yeah,
what do you think your fight score would be for one of these boys?
Direct confrontation. I think I got a chance, even if I get swallowed, because
straight up 1v1.
Yeah, I think there's a chance because I always keep a knife on me. So even if I have to carve my way out from the inside, there's a chance. I'm gonna give it a 8 because these things are too damn sneaky. I'm not gonna get a 1v1.
I don't imagine they're that quick, other than once they get the jump on you, it's that's a surprise.
Yeah, it's really just they get the jump on you, and I just happen to carry stuff on me on a regular basis.
I agree. So, I think once you ruin that surprise, where not on even ground, but there's a better chance at least. I would probably say about an 8 or 9 too, just with them being large and probably hard to fight through after getting swallowed.
Well, you're blinded, restrained.
Yeah, blinded, restrained.
So you're going to be less effective with whatever you're holding on to.
Yeah, and you're getting burned at the start.
And you're taking necrotic damage.
Necrotic damage too.
That's quite a bit. That's
you can't be healed after too.
Yeah, that's a very slim chance of getting out of it. Really.
No magical heal
and sneaky.
Man.
Yeah, odds are they're just going to carry me away in the sack and just deliver me to the destination. I'll have to negotiate with whoever wants me after that.
Yeah, these would be great for a campaign where you're like, finally awake.
Yes, actually, you could have the entire party meet because they were kidnapped by these things.
That would be kind of interesting.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. That's a good campaign starter. Banderhops, boom, boom, and then there's a hag, and the hag is like, "Listen, dearies, if you want to leave this place alive, you're gonna make a deal with me.
Yeah, you're gonna do a job for me. You're gonna get something I want.
Something that requires a little bit more discretion than what the Banderhops can do."
Yeah, I could see that. That would be really cool.
Or something with a lack of discretion.
Maybe. Arson.
There is always arson.
The party is the fall guys for whatever the hags actually got planned.
Oh, that's brilliant. I like that. That sounds like
they don't know it. They know they're trying to do a job, and maybe they just keep failing or something.
Mm-hmm. They just can't quite get the job done.
Yeah, the distraction team.
They need a wider array of abilities for this one, perhaps.
Yeah, I could see it. When it comes to DMing, there's all kinds of convoluted reasons you can bring the party together.
You could come up with so many things. I like these a lot. I'm glad I found out about these guys. and I hope to never see them in any of my campaigns. Alternatively, I hope to see them because I want their materials for crafting.
I will say it seems like they serve excellent as a DM tool as opposed to being a monster.
Absolutely. That is so true. I can see that. Just being agents of the Shadowfell itself is, kind of says a lot.
Ooh, the Raven Queen could be like, hey, listen, the warlock of the party ain't been paying up. Send a Vanderhop after him.
Break his fucking ankles.
Bring him right back into the Shadowfell. It's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
And the party's like, oh no. Maybe it leaves like a little a gate to the Shadowfell open for just a brief moment and the party slips through.
Ooh, yeah. I see that. Maybe one of the party notices the tear in space. And they're like, wait a minute. Hold is open just enough for everybody to get inside.
It's like a Bugs Bunny hole. You just jump right in.
Yeah, exactly.
Or be like, you know what? I don't think I want to go in there. Wait, where's the warlock?
Yeah, right. What the hell is this?
I guess we're going in.
Please let this be a normal field trip. Freeze? No way! Driving up the main street, heading to the Shadowfell.
Dude, gotta make a full parody now. Into the Shadowfell. Damn.
Hope you guys enjoyed this monster segment for this week.
I like it. It's very interesting, and like I said before, it just has so many mechanical uses as a dungeon master.
I think so. I could even imagine the variants that you can make with this, the changes you can make. Give some of these, to a lich and have him fuck with them a little bit. That could be interesting. You could go in so many directions.
I kind of like the concept of having one that's sole purpose is to kidnap party members and then place them in different locations just to fuck with them.
Ooh.
There's a lot there.
So, what news do we bring for this week?
Well, you see,
that was the throwback to the last time I was on.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
This is TNM, bringing you Nerd News.
This week with Nerd News, the Dragonlance TV series will not be happening. I'm sorry, guys. I had some hopes, but when you spend an entire year torching your company, something's got to get cut. Who knew?
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've discovered the power of the swivel chair. I can't control myself.
It's good though. But yeah, looking at this article right here, I've heard that it was canceled this week, and just looking a little further, actor and screenwriter John Manganiello, impronounceable Italian name, confirms that live action project is no longer in pre-production. It's unfortunate because so many people love Dragonlance, and a TV series could have gone pretty well, but yeah, I guess it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, as like all nice things, entertainment companies do not want us to have them. So we have to do it ourselves.
I guess so. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. He was in True Blood and Justice League. Okay, that's neat.
Okay, wait. I love True Blood.
Yeah, my wife does too.
In Justice League?
It doesn't.
That makes so much sense.
I'm going to have to look it up now because, they didn't cite that. I mean, I should know, but I'm just terrible with actor names. Very seldom do I know shit about actors and stuff because, that's just not my scene. It's like when people ask me about music, and I'm just like, it goes like this.
I do not subscribe to the worship of celebrity figures, personally.
They're just people, as I'm learning.
Yeah. We're all just people doing stuff. We can't all be Taylor Swift.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, he played Slade. Neat.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
That's cool. I always love Slade, Deathstroke, or whatever you want to call him. He's always cool.
Man, Teen Titans. Take me back.
I really liked his how they depicted Slade in the Arrowverse. Like, that guy nailed it.
I didn't watch the Arrowverse that much. I remember when they had the crossover with the Flash.
They did that a bunch of times.
I was pretty deep into the Flash at the time, but after they were like, go watch this episode of Supergirl, watch this episode of fucking Guardians or whatever, watch this episode of The Flash, watch this episode of Arrowverse. I'm like, oh my god, just give it a break, bro. Just give me
I love and hate that at the same time, for the sheer fact that I love crossovers. We don't get enough of them, but I don't like the concept of having to you have to go specifically to this series, then this series, and then that series at this episode number just to get the whole thing. Just do simple crossovers. Cap it out at maybe 3. But
because then you're gonna be a little confused if you don't watch the episode before the crossover episode for this particular series.
I don't like what I haven't seen a lot of the DC stuff with the TV shows. But the Marvel stuff that's on Disney, I haven't watched any of it, and they're bringing it up in the movies. I'm like, really?
Yeah, it's just oh, do I have to get invested now? Yeah. I tell you, the best Marvel stuff to come out of Disney in the past 10 years, sure there's a lot of good movies and stuff, but they gave Guardians of the Galaxy an animated series that went on for 3 seasons or so, and it was great.
Man, if they want us to care about these shows, they gotta stop canceling the ones we like. I'm tired of it. I've had enough.
I'm saying.
I liked Luke Cage. I liked, Black Lightning. I liked all of these shows that they canceled and killed.
Yeah, they're bringing. I think they're giving Static Shock another series, and it's just okay. I'd like to see Static Shock do a crossover with Black Lightning. That'd be all right.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty on brand. They do in the comics, I believe.
I think so.
I don't know too much about those characters, but yeah,
it'd be interesting.
Those kind of movies are. One that did do well recently, the Blue Beetle movie. I really liked that one.
I heard it did. I haven't seen yet. I heard it didn't do so well, but I watched it, and it's just it had the guy that was in. He played Miguel in Cobra Kai, and when I heard that he got the casting, I'm like, dude, it couldn't have happened to a better dude.
I haven't seen Cobra Kai.
Well, if you like the guy that played the Blue Beetle, then check out Cobra Kai, because he's a talented dude.
Blue Beetle's one of my favorite comic characters personally.
Yeah, I feel that. I really enjoy the Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle and Beast Boy. Apparently, I have a theme or a type, I guess, but BBs, I guess.
All right. So moving into homebrew stuff.
Oh boy.
Cheer grill, lots of fun, excellent.
Let all your homebrews coalesce in the generic realm. So we did discuss putting together a homebrew right here on the show, with each of us suggesting a word. I'm willing to go first with the word tongue. Okay. What you got, Sam?
I think I would like to say.
No, not that one.
I'll say glass.
Glass.
Ooh.
Can you help?
All right. So Glass tongue. That already sounds like an artifact.
It is.
Ah.
It's a magical prosthetic
Ooh.
that is like, it's almost like a liquid glass.
Like a mercury almost. Or like a molten glass, maybe.
Yeah, but not hot. It's just flexible, transparent, and can literally be a sharp tongue. You can make an attack with it that does piercing damage.
Ooh. Like a lethal Gene Simmons.
Almost like a viper. You know, I could see that. That'd be cool.
just imagine like, whoo, ha.
You know, one thing I love like silver is one of my favorite colors, and I love like liquid mercury and stuff like that. You know, I think that's so cool. So like, I don't know. I've always thought that like using the idea of like liquid metal or like, you know, things like that in D&D is always really cool.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm just picturing this as like transparent, crystalline, but like flexible. So I guess it looked kind of like water or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Glass is a little
ice.
shinier.
Like ice, I guess. Something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so I'm gonna turn this into a magic item, and I'm gonna put it online tonight.
I like it.
Oh yeah, it'll
you
be
heard it here first. I like it.
Shout out to Amethyst Dragon giving
By
us.
the time I go to bed tonight, I will post it online, and I'll put it on Twitter.
Yeah, great.
Ooh,
Blue Sky.
sounds good.
Give it, like, write it up, have it formatted all nicely, and
Yeah, we have a homebrew that we've been coming up with, working on a little bit, the Zodiac alignment.
Well, not really alignment, but like I guess it
Not
does kind
alignment,
of.
but yeah.
But kind of like having a proper zodiac that's applicable to D&D, because we talked about it an episode or two ago, and then I just started like working on the formatting and kind of building it up, and so far so good.
Yeah, I think it sounds pretty
Like
interesting.
having each zodiac sign give like a bonus. So it's like, okay, if you take damage from a certain source, take a d4 off of that and reduce the damage. If you take damage from a different source, add a d4 to it. So like you're almost vulnerable to that. Then getting like a additional bonus to a certain skill proficiency that's related to that. An additional weapon, an additional proficiency of some kind, as well as an additional language.
Nice.
And all of it be kind of like, and some kind of like small minor role play ability. So like all of it just kind of like comes together to be themed around the specific zodiac sign.
Right. Give it a little more flavor to the birth of your character, you know, a little more backstory.
Yeah.
Kind of essence. Yeah.
I like the idea of just having players like they can do everything else for their character, can full control creatively, but if it goes for the birth sign, well, you got to roll for that. No one controls when they're born.
And, you know, to kind of offshoot this idea, I really want to make a Zodiac sorcerer.
That sounds like it could be cool.
Yeah, it channels the Zodiacs, you know, or even if you could be like a barbarian.
That's a very Jackie
Maybe
Chan
both.
Adventures kind of
Maybe
sorcerer.
both. You can make a sorcerer and barbarian subclass for both.
That could be
depending on how many
interesting.
signs you got, you could do, you know, have a different ability for each sign, and every time you go into a rage, you roll a d12 to find out which one, which stars are you align with at that moment.
Ooh, I like that. Sam, write this down.
I could even see it being like a druidic, you know, class feature or something like that. Circle of the Zodiac or something, you know.
See, this is something that everyone's girlfriend can get into. There we go. So moving into oh yeah, Zodiac Barbarian. It's like, and of course, first joke that everyone's going to come to is that you're the Zodiac killer.
Ted Bundy.
Moving into the homebrew for this week, I bring to you guys the mirrored daggers. Now, This is something that I found that I thought was really cool by the Cardinals Workshop. So we haven't featured anything by them yet. The art here looks pretty nice, and actually they had their little description and everything further down the way in the comments on Reddit. So it's rare, requires attunement. This item has 4 charges for the following abilities. It regains all expended charges daily at dawn. This dagger has runes that run along the blade. While holding the dagger, you can use your action to expend one of its charges. The dagger then disappears, and 8 ghostly replicas levitate around you. These blades are incorporeal and last for a minute. After being conjured, you may use these ghostly replicas for the abilities listed below. After the minute or after all the daggers are used, the original blade reappears in your possession. All the properties below can be done using a bonus action. The range of these abilities is 20 to 60, so about not far off.
Throwing range.
Yeah, that's throwing range.
Dagger.
Exactly. While attuned to this dagger, you are proficient with it and may use your spellcasting ability modifier instead of your attack for damage. Well, 4 attack and damage rolls. These daggers deal 1d4 piercing damage and have the finesse property. So first off, for abilities you get with this is piercing shot. Using 1 dagger, you launch it at a target creature in range. This attack has a +5 bonus to hit. Then we got snake bite. Using 2 daggers. You launch them at 1 creature. Make each attack separately. If both attacks hit, they are poisoned until the end of your next turn.
Okay. Nice.
Okay, then we got spread shot. Using 3 daggers, you can launch them to swarm a 5-foot radius sphere. Each creature in the 5-foot radius sphere must make a dexterity saving throw equal to your spell save DC, or you hit this or to hit with this weapon +8. Oh, I'm beginning to wonder about some of the wording here, but that's okay.
That makes sense though. +8 because you have 3 daggers coming at somebody.
Yeah. Each creature takes 3d4 slashing damage on a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, we got pinning barrage. Using 4 daggers, you can attack 1 creature with all of them. All these attacks are made separately and have disadvantage. If at least 2 hit, the next attack against the creature is made with advantage, or the effect ends at the end of your next turn. So, if you guys are familiar with Fable, there's a spell in Fable where you summon up all these blades and they just go winging themselves at somebody, almost like magic missile. This is what this feels like to me.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of what is it called? Soulstone Survivors, those what are they called? The Devil Survivor type games, There's usually an ability that fires a bunch of blades.
Yeah. So it says here the artist is Guz Art. So nice. This person posts a few times a week, so that's cool. They got a Patreon. So
shout out to them.
Yeah, they got a Twitter, so I'm probably give them a follow if they're going to put out good stuff like this, because that looks quite nice.
Yeah. Go ahead and give them a like and a follow. Thank you for your creation.
All right. And what you got this week, Sam?
So I dipped back a little bit into the Myth Maker. I talked about them, I believe, 2 episodes ago with the Evolve spell.
Yes, you did.
I love the theme of transmog spells, body augmentations. So I went ahead and grabbed another one called Flesh Rend. It's a 1st level transmutation, applicable to a druid and warlock, casting time of 1 action, range of 10 feet, somatic components, and a duration of 1 round. In a brief moment of feral ferocity, you transform one of your body parts into an oversized bestial perversion, a hand into a huge claw, or your mouth into a toothy maw, and strike with it. Alternatively, if you have a natural weapon that deals slashing or piercing damage, this spell can cause a feature to become oversized and increasingly deadly. Make a melee spell attack as a creature you can see within range. On a hit, the target suffers slashing damage equal to 3d6 plus your spell casting ability modifier. Roll an additional d6 if you already have a natural weapon, as described above. If this damage leaves a target at below 50% of its maximum hit points, the target is also hobbled until the end of your next turn.
What does hobbled mean as a condition?
Hobbled.
I don't think that's a condition that
Interesting.
is that a new condition they made for this?
I would imagine it kind of is like a hobbled movement, like a slowed, or maybe like a half movement type situation.
Okay.
And there's also an upcast. If you cast this spell while using a spell slot of second level or higher, the damage increases by 1d6 for each spell slot above first. So pretty standard. I like it.
You know what? That is a kind of a fun druid and warlock spell. Just like transforming a part of your body. That can become very flavorful. So I love that puts a lot of control for the player there.
So I do have a little snippet here about the hobbled condition. It's a custom condition included in the equipment overhaul PDF. A hobbled creature must spend 2 feet of movement for every 1 foot it moves.
Okay, so you guessed right.
Yeah. And has disadvantage on saving throws against being restrained.
Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. I might start using that condition, actually.
Yeah, I kind of like it. Makes sense. For sure. If you leave a character wounded or, shoot him in the leg, they're hobbled,
Certainly so.
Yeah, I like it. Shout out to Mythmaker once again. Thank you for your lovely spell.
Yeah, does it say who did the art? Because that looks pretty cool.
I believe. Let me see here. I gotta read.
It does.
Credit. Yeah, tell me for it, please.
Let's see here. Bone Claw Marauder. Oh. So it's by Mariah Niel. So they use some official artwork for this.
Oh.
So
Nice.
Okay. A little something from WotC there.
We got Patreon/MythmakerGM, mythmakergm.com, r/mythmaker5.
All right. Well, I like the sound of it, and there's really never enough good spells like that,
No, honestly, I've been really feeling like the vibe of like a druidic, like shaman type character, and I've been wanting to make one for a long time. So like these spells are kind of hitting that spot for me.
I definitely see that.
Yeah.
All right. So Amethyst, I've been meaning to ask you, do you have any advice for prospective people that want to make a book of their own?
What a question.
Yeah, go ahead and do it. You're going to want some software that'll help you do page layout. Don't rely on, Homebrew is nice and you can spit out PDFs with it. But you're going to want something dedicated that you can work with that isn't necessarily web-based. That'll still give you nice PDFs that give you more control over it. I use one called Affinity Publisher. I think it was like $50 the first time I bought it. And then like the upgrade was they came out with a second version like over a year ago. So I just recently bought that, and the performance increase was just amazing on my old laptop.
That sounds like it.
Performance improvements, and it did. So the newer version works better. I don't do subscription software. So like the most popular one or two of them, like Adobe products, like InDesign, I think it's called, is like a monthly or yearly subscription, and I don't do that.
Yeah, I don't really like those either.
Outright.
Yeah, like it's so awful that nowadays, like you have to get subscriptions for software that you want, and it's just like, I want to own my stuff, and like the general model for most companies these days is you will own nothing, and if you lose access to it, fuck you.
Yeah, because like
so true.
maybe I want to work on something and then like not use this program for 6 months. And then go back to it. If I'm not paying for it, I'd still like to be able to open my old files. the stuff I made.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I did that. Invest in graphics editing software, even if it's free, because I use a free one called the GIMP.
Mm.
It's
I remember
basically
GIMP. Oh yeah.
basically it does almost everything Photoshop does. And I subscribe to the Patreon to support the developers for a couple of months, so that they still got some money from me, because
Yeah.
I remember GIMP from like high school.
Dude, I've seen so many different softwares that do that kind of stuff these days that are integrating AI. So it's just like, oh, hey, you want a background removed? Boom, the AI will track the stuff around your image. And it's like, dude, do you have any idea how long it takes to go around and just kind of like clip every little thing? Like the fact that I can outsource that to a bot? Yes, please.
Bugs.
Yeah. But that one lets me do a lot. And I made some, like I got my cover art made, and then I made a couple of tweaks to it after I got the final artwork, just to make it exactly how I wanted. But if you're making a book, you're going to want artwork. Like I personally don't use any AI stuff. There's public domain sources out there that there's so much free stuff out there. And then you can get stock art for relatively cheap. Like Drive Through RPG has artists on there that have stock art on there that you can buy. Like I got a bunch of pencil art from an artist who goes by Solophane. A lot of individual characters, and they do everything with pencil. It is awesome.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, I think you mentioned this person last time you were on the show.
I might have.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I specifically remember that.
I don't remember when I started looking at their stuff.
It might have been recent at the time, like maybe like you just discovered them or something.
Yeah, might have been. So yeah, you can get stock art for relatively cheap. You can commission actual artists if you got a few extra dollars. Like your cool cover art is gonna be more expensive for RPG stuff.
Yeah, the cover art's the most important thing. Like if you have to pay for anything, let it be that piece.
Yeah.
That one was a chunk of money for my book. But if you're gonna do just digital stuff, you don't necessarily need the super high resolution artwork when it's all gonna be like 72 dots per inch on the screen.
Yeah.
On the PDFs, you might want to go up to 150 to 200 just for people who zoom in. Work on your writing, your grammar. Find something that'll do spell check for you.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely see it here as we talk about so many homebrews. There is the occasional. We notice the grammar errors. We understand people may not be English speakers. They may not have used the software. It happens to the best.
It's perfectly fine.
You want your homebrew to be as clean as possible. It's easy to understand as possible.
Yeah. If you're making stuff for D&D, use wording from the system reference document.
Definitely.
So that you got kind of the same baseline as everybody who's been playing the game.
Yeah. Because if you start wording things weirdly, then it's just like people are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, they get confused and you get miscommunications. And
5th edition is basically 5e is a really simple wording, but some of it is very specific.
Yeah.
And because of what everybody in the community did with when the OGL issue came up more than a year ago, the systems reference document now is in the Creative Commons.
Right.
Yeah.
You can use anything out of that in your own stuff or as a basis for your own stuff. And all you got to do is put like 1 or 2 sentences in the credit. You don't need this whole 1-page legal thing anymore.
It's so true.
Which is great. It saves me a page in my book.
True,
absolutely.
Every little bit counts.
Nearly 600 pages. But use that resource. If you're newer to homebrewing, get feedback from people online. these people when you put stuff on Reddit, on Earth Arcana, you can feedback. There's D&D Homebrew, you get more feedback. Another subreddit. Don't bother with the D&D Next subreddit. They're not
You don't talk about them.
I think we all know with that one.
Yeah, that one I found out is like, hey, we wish we could have all this stuff, and you're like, hey, you can have all this stuff people have been making. And they're like, no, we want it from Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, it's like people with Game Freak.
But at least, hey, if they want it from Wizards of the Coast, or they want it from a third-party producer, which basically means somebody with a book. Hey, guess what I'm going to be?
You're going to be the guy with a book.
Look right here, guys.
Yeah, you got a book.
The Amethyst Dragon's Hoard of Everything is going to be a book published by the Amethyst Dragon LLC.
Amazing.
Woohoo! Official.
Honestly, I really hope to pick up a copy. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Throw that on the bookshelf because there's just so much stuff that you've made, and a lot of this we've featured a few of them on the show, and it's just good stuff.
Yeah, there's never a limit of things to talk about.
And I've edited a lot of the stuff that's gone into the book too, so it's some updated grammar. I've found a few misspellings even.
Yeah,
it does happen.
I did some tweaked mechanics.
Yeah, it happens. I found a useful tool for homebrewing. It's how when you first come up with an idea when you're trying to put together something for a homebrew, I found that if I go to ChatGPT and I just brain dump the entire idea for all the messiness that it is, and I'm like, hey, format this into something legible. It will reorganize the information into the D&D format. So it's I said that there was an action, and I said this and that, and then it's boom. Okay, you took my brain sludge and you turned it into something legible. Yeah. Now I could take that and refine it a little bit further. So never underestimate the power of a brain dump onto ChatGPT. That's how I got the Ramhound stat block, because I had some ideas and I just start throwing them in there. It's and then boom. It's
see, when I do it, I have a text file and I just start typing and then it's done.
Yeah.
Well, you have it down to muscle memory. You got thousands of homebrews under your belt. It's just automatic. You don't even have to think about it. It's all the wording is in the fingertips.
Yeah. Oh, this glass tongue thing. I've already decided it's going to be I don't know, maybe a fake tooth or a tongue ring or something.
Ooh, I like that.
So it can actually transform, if you have a tongue, into the glass.
If you have a tongue, yeah.
If you've somehow lost your tongue, it'll be a prosthetic.
That's cool. I like that a lot. So I think that about sums up everything we had prepared for today.
It does.
Everything else.
Preparing.
It was great to have. Yeah, I mean.
Today has been
back, Mr. Amethyst.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Always a blast to talk about the creations and the community.
Oh yeah,
I look forward to seeing the stuff you make.
I love coming on here and not only talking about my stuff, but
other
people's stuff, D&D stuff in general.
Yeah.
Always fun.
It's been nice, we've hit our milestone episode at this point, and you were one of our, first guests.
And second.
First and second, So I feel like we've grown, a good rapport, and we're glad that you're
absolutely
enjoying, your time when you come on.
Still sad we didn't have that one episode.
I know. I will forever kick myself over that one.
Rest in peace.
Rest assured,
you coming on.
Can't redo it either because I don't prepare this stuff. This is all off.
Neither do we. There's a mild amount of preparation. Okay, there's homebrew. There's the news of the week.
The monster stuff that I do.
Yep. Yeah, the lore master research of Sam. After all that stuff, we just kind of toss it in the blender and hope it works.
Yeah, basically, that's just kind of the vibe we're going for. We are nerds and we do know stuff sometimes.
That being said,
or make it up.
I hope everyone has a great weekend.
Happy Valentine's Day to the lovers out there.
Happy single awareness to those who are
bitter.
alone.
I hope your ceiling fan falls on you. I used to be like you till I took an arrow to the heart. All right.
Okay. Amethyst, is there anything you'd like to leave the listeners with? Where can they find you?
Sure. You can find all of my stuff at amethyst-dragon.com. That's got my big list of homebrews. It's got a link to the stuff on my book. I'm doing a Kickstarter for the book. That's how people will get it.
Nice.
Want to finance the printing of the 4.5-pound hardcover book.
Absolutely.
There'll be a PDF version too, but that's just not as fun.
Yeah.
That starts
Not the
March
same.
19th, but you can now, and through my website, there's a link you can sign up to get notified through Kickstarter. I make homebrews 2 to 3 times a week, and that's in addition to the book I'm working on. And look, there was one tonight. I was gonna make one today. I'm like, I'll save it for the stream.
I'm glad we could help.
And it is the Year of the Dragon, which I'm
yes.
claiming. It's my year. So
Of course,
Yes.
it's your time.
It's thematically
Here's
appropriate. I mean, how could you not?
exactly. That started today.
Chinese New Year. Here we
Great
go.
year to talk about more dragons too. I'm excited for that.
Totally.
It'll be a good year for the hobby, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
That 50th anniversary of D&D.
Yes.
All right.
Everyone, this is the lovely Amethyst Dragon. We are Dungeons and Talk Shows. Catch us back next week. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, next week.
As if we don't record every week. Why did I say that? Goodbye. Goodbye.
Oh yeah, get out of here. Okay, we are good.
I'm tired.
I can tell.